For the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm giving you guys a bit of sort of a pitching / tutorial video on the Quest Screenhouse 4. So with me I'm going to use the Screenhouse 4 Pro, but you can use the same method that we're talking about here with a normal Screenhouse. It's just the fact that the Pro is a slightly higher spec version. You've got a better sort of UV rating, but also what you find as well is the sides and your window panels and things like that in the sides, which you don't get with the normal one. Personally, by far and away, the Pro's a better model to go for. It works out better in terms of money-wise, at least anyway. When you're looking at enclosing or even adding one side, it's about the same price as adding the normal version and then one pair of sides. So it's much more functional. There's more additions you can add to it. You can add canopies and other things as well. But we've got a separate video on that as well. So the first thing we do essentially is sort of get out the bag. I've already moved kind of the upright poles that come with the model itself, and that sort of just braces it where you haven't got the crossover points. Now I'm going to undo the clip, just that keeps it all together. And the joys of this model is it's so quick and simple to put up, and Quest were kind of the originators of this design in many ways. Well, certainly to bring it into the sort of camping sort of industry, if you will. So all I'm going to do is sort of open it up. Now I want to almost find the main middle hub, which is kind of located here. Now you either go two ways about it. You either basically put the hub up first, so you literally pull that up first if you want to, and then pop the sides out. For me, I quite like the fact that by pulling the sides out first, doesn't really make much difference. You can kind of keep the you got a little pop-up for the last little bit. I find that it works for me a little bit easier, especially when you sort of take it down in reverse. It works quite smarter. The key thing to do is make sure when you're pulling the sides out is that the base is as far away from one another at the bottom. So they're nicely spread out. It makes that pull scenario a lot easier. So once you're kind of in this position now, what you can then do is literally flip the roof up. So to do this, like I said, if you've done the roof first, it makes it, you've got it up, then you just pop the sides out. For me, I quite like to hold the fiberglass pole here, put your hand very carefully on the underside of it where the pad is, and flip it up like so. I think it's a bit more dramatic. So once you've kind of got it up, it's in its sort of shape. What I'm now going to do is insert the upright poles just to give a bit more stability, and then we can position and properly peg it out. So the poles are just kind of a fiberglass section. They're pre-fixed. You quite simply just open them up, and there's almost like a little sleeve it just sits in. So they're the same way either way. So there's a sleeve in the top corner up here. You pop it in like so, and you've got the same kind of sleeve built into the bottom part down here. So you can actually kind of flex it a little bit, just pop in position, and then you've just got some Velcro tabs just to kind of tie that pole nice and neatly. And also it's actually to stop it from moving and popping out its pockets as well. So again, you've got kind of more sort of strength there. Again, do the same on the opposite side. So it doesn't really make a difference if you go top or bottom first, whatever sort of your personal preference is. In it goes, and then the Velcro goes on. So at this point now, it's worth kind of saying that even though it's sort of quite a strong shelter, it's still, I'd still say sort of, kind of more fair weather-esque, like any gazebo, but once it's up and it's got out properly, it is pretty darn strong, to be fair. So now the shelter itself, what we're going to do is we're going to basically peg the main kind of four corners up, well, the guide points, because the guide points are really what give it its main source of strength. It sort of stops the panels from bowing in. You don't want to kind of over flex them. You want them kind of just assisting a little bit. So as you can see probably here, all I'm going to do is just give a little bit of flex like so. Anything more than that, what you find is actually it distorts the shape and it sort of squishes down a little bit. All we're trying to achieve is stopping that panel going back inwards rather than putting outwards. And that's an awful lot of guy ropes are. Guy ropes are really just to retain the shape rather than to distort the shape in many ways. So we've done the two sides, we'll do the back one. And again, you've got these nice strong webbing straps. You can attach them on afterwards if need be. There's a little clip sometimes if you want to keep it all separate. Now we've kind of done that, what you've got then is these kind of eyelet points which are located all in the corners, which are like so. Now really they're sort of almost designed to be kind of inside. So what I'm going to do is we've got one in each corner, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 3 in the middle section. So 7 pegs is what I require. 7 pegs what it's got. Now I find, because you're kind of happy with the position of it and you've got the point in place, if we zip this door together, we're going to make sure that the door itself isn't going to be any further apart. So you haven't got to worry about not being able to sort of get in and out of the main part of it. Plus what you find as well is that it makes sure that this position from one point to another, because there's no sort of connecting parts, is not overstretched. So, like I said, for the time being, I'll probably start with the back bit first, just because I find that it's easier to get that fixed point done. So just kind of internally peg it. One there. You want to kind of make sure it's sort of pushed out a little bit first, just to make sure it's not sort of getting too much interfering. So again, with this point here, and you want it in a perfect kind of rectangle if you wanted to, just to make sure again it's designed to be square, so make sure it is square. And then what we do is just push this door out here until that's got a nice amount of tension to it. Once that's done, you can open it up as you wanted to. I mean, to be fair, you've got a pegging point here anyway, so you can kind of peg through that and then do the middles. So with this, you probably spend more time in pegging it than you will actually putting it up, which is quite of a difference. You've got this kind of like rain skirt here as well, so that can just sort of pop out. It'll be a good time to sort of now adjust the guide points now, just to make sure you've got some sort of tension on them. And voila. So nice, simple and easy. We've done a separate sort of review video on the screen house showing you kind of all of the extras you can put on it, as well as the connectors, the canopies and all the bits and bobs, and also the differences between sort of the Pro versus the normal version. So you can always check that out. For more information on this product, check the link below the video. It'll take you directly through to our website, where we've got all the latest spec, all the features, and the other video that I mentioned as well, all located there quite handily, so it gives you an idea of pricing as well. But in essence, that's kind of how simple it is to sort of pitch the screen house. And again, it's something you can use not only for camping bases, for garden uses, for camper van uses. It's got so many different purposes, and because you've got that sort of complete fly mesh scenario around everything, it works really smartly. We've got obviously the 6 version as well, which you can see a separate video on as well, so by all means check that out. But any more questions, queries, let us know by the comments box below or email us directly. But yeah, that's kind of a little pitching / tutorial video on the Quest Screen House and the Screen House Pro. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you again soon.